Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have a doll repaint today, and if you guys don't know, I would say my toxic trait is putting random heads that I find on cave club bodies. I just love doing it. It's like my favorite thing. I really like the combos. They're like slightly smaller heads a lot of the time. And if you guys are keeping up with Rainbow High, then you would know that they had like a re-release or a rebrand, I guess, where they made them, I guess, aimed more at children, which is like fine and cool and great, because obviously like they're dolls. But if you're a doll artist or if you are a collector, not so great. And they came out with these like Rainbow High Littles recently that if you're a doll artist or a collector, you probably want no parts of. But if you're me and your toxic trait is putting random heads on cave club bodies, then you were like, I see the potential. So that's what we're doing today. You may be asking, but what are we doing with them? So like a while ago, maybe like a year ago, I made a summer Pixie and I really like how it turned out. It was like one of my favorite things that I did last year. So I says to myself, we've never made a series before. Why don't we make one? So that's what we're doing. I'm going to be making a winter Pixie because 1, I like pixies. 2, it gives me more of an excuse to do cave club hybrids. Here we go. It's head switching time. So I'm heating up the heads with a blow dryer and then just popping them off. Her neck a little skinny, but she cute or whatever. This head is a little bit loose and it doesn't fit as well as the Barbie Extra Minis, but I think it's fine. I am wiping off the paint with acetone. Why is it so hard to get paint off of some dolls? Like, what are y'all prepping for, the apocalypse? I was just scrubbing and scrubbing with acetone, but anyway, I cut her hair off and then I heat her head back up with some hot water. Did the usual of scraping around the inside of her head with a screwdriver and pulling the hair out through the neck hole with needle nose pliers. I have to say, even though this head is small, I'm so excited to have a Rainbow High head without inset eyes that I can like paint eyes on. I love the Rainbow High inset eyes, but I just love painting eyes. And I know that like Rainbow High's predecessor, they had like a bigger doll that didn't have inset eyes. But I don't want to paint that doll because it doesn't have joints and I don't know what body to put it on. Her blue hair is cool, but she's not going to have blue hair. So I'm taking the paint off with acetone. This was way easier than the face paint. On to the face up. So I spray the doll 3 times, Mr. Super Clear, waiting 15 minutes between each spray and wearing a respirator mask. And then we start drawing. I thought about giving her like big eyes, pretty much like how the Rainbow Eye doll like inset eyes are, but then I was like, no, that would be a missed opportunity. So I'm making them smaller, and I always sketch out the eyes first because, to be honest, I do face ups pretty late, so I figured might as well do the eyes when I'm most awake. And also I feel like it's the most important part of a face, so that's why I sketch out the shape first. Random question about these dolls, and I don't know if anybody can even answer it, but does anybody know if these like heads are literally any different than the normal Rainbow High heads? What I mean by that is, did they just like shrink down the heads and basically just not give them inset eyes? Because that feels a little strange since they're supposed to be like 5, and then the Rainbow High dolls, I guess, are supposed to be in their teens. But I guess the Rainbow High sculpt is so like round that you could do that. It just feels a little strange. Like, I feel like if they just shrunk down Barbie's head and put it on like a Kelly body, that would also be weird. But I guess Barbie's more realistic than Rainbow High. I don't know. It just makes me wonder, as someone who's very interested in sculpts, does it matter? Probably not. We love a good waterline, so I'm coloring hers in with a peach pencil, and I'm blushing all over her face. Since she has like kind of a tanner skin tone, I'm using a more darker peach. Rainbow High has one of my favorite lip sculpts for dolls, so we gotta accentuate that with some red pastel. They're just so like pillowy and big, I like it. To accentuate the deeper crevices of her face, it just seems like a weird way to describe something, but like her nostrils, her eyelids, her like lips, the sides of them. I'm just taking a brown pastel and a little brush and just shading those areas. Her face looks a little crazy here because I used blue pastel, like I do a lot around the face because I like creating undertones, but then I was like, wow, wait, this is actually way too light. So I erased it with a kneaded eraser and went in with teal pastel, and I think it looks way better. And it just kind of matches her sort of olivey skin tone a bit more. For a pastel highlighter on the face, I used an incredibly light beige. It looks really light here, but it actually ends up disappearing when I spray it. I used beige. I was gonna use white, but I like could not find it. I found it. I almost rebought it. It was like, I don't know. My room's a mess. It was like in a little basket. But yeah, I wish I had used white. I feel like it just disappears. I took a teal pencil and I colored her eyes in. They're like super light. I ended up going on top of it with pastel as well, just to make it blend a little bit more. And I shaded the underneath the top of her eyelid on the white of her eye with black pastel. Since there's all sorts of shading going on her face, I am bringing back some highlights with a white pencil, and I'm just putting this in certain areas. I'm going to be going in with white watercolor as well, and I'm just going to further accentuate these areas, but I'm not completely going over them with the white watercolor. I'm just like kind of highlighting certain spots so they look a little bit more three-dimensional. I'm taking a little bit of inspo from a painting technique I've seen Freya Rune dolls use on Instagram, where she takes a white pencil and she kind of flicks on top of the eyes to create an even further highlight. And I actually really like how it turned out. I feel like I gave her eyes, I don't know, like a little more something something. Yeah, you guys should check out her dolls if you haven't already. She has like a big following, so you probably have, but she does fantastic work. I'm going over the whites of her eyes with white watercolor paint, and I desperately need to go to the store and get more tiny brushes. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, y'all. They're just getting real busted. Yeah, and I'm not treating them the best, so there's that too. Okay, she's getting pretty dark brows, very dark brows. She's gonna have silver hair, which I don't think is indicated in any way yet, but yeah, I really like dark brows, even with light hair. And I've been doing a lot of light brows lately, and it's making me miss my defined, thick, black eyebrows that I love putting on dolls. I really, really like like a kind of fuzzy limbo ring. So I'm taking some black watercolor and I'm just flicking that all around the ring around the eye. It's like radiating out from the pupil. I went over her pupil with black watercolor pencil, and then I'm taking my dark blue watercolor pencil and I'm just flicking lines like coming out from the pupil or radiating out. I'm also flicking lines going towards the pupil from the black lines that I put around the ring. And I just feel like, I don't know, it's just adding a lot of detail to her eyes. And I actually really, this is like one of my favorite face ups I've ever done. I feel like I say that with like every doll. That's not true. The last face up I did wasn't my favorite face up I've ever done. But this one, I just really like it. So yeah. With a really light blue watercolor, I'm flicking lines going towards her pupil, and yeah, this is like real tedious, but I like how it looks. I feel like it looks intense here, but like chill. It's gonna look good, okay? Or at least I think it looks good. I don't know. To make the fade of those lines a little bit more gradual, I'm taking this still light blue watercolor pencil, but like slightly darker than the lines that I flicked in. And I'm just like flicking that very gently, or just shading it very gently where the pupil is, where those lines meet the pupil, just so it's not like as intense of a transition. Girly Pap needs brow hairs, so we're gonna start it. I'm just flicking some very like wild hairs on her eyebrows. At this point, I'm basically just pushing and pulling the shading and the highlights on the eyes. So I'm just getting them to a point that I like, where they're like defined but not too defined, stuff like that. Since she's like a little wintry queen and she's gonna have silver hair, I gave her a little bit of silver liner on her lids. With paint, I'm basically just making her brows a little bit more wild, just flicking them out and stuff in certain areas and going over some of the lines with black. With one of my pointy Q-tips and the Pearl X pigment in turquoise, I tap that on the pupils. This just gives them an extremely like dark blue effect that looks cool on the pupils. We stand a good lash here, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just flicking out some lashes on her upper and lower lid with the Faber-Castell black pencil. This one gets like very pointy and sharp, so you can get a very fine line with it. I really like fading the outer lashes a tiny bit, so I'm taking a rose gold metallic pencil and I'm just flicking some lines on a couple of the lashes on the outer corner. I thought it would look cool if there was a little bit of metallic purple on the eyes, so I'm putting that near the pupil and just kind of flicking it into the highlights. To make those lashes just like nice and dark and slay, I just took some black watercolor for my pencil and I went over, I think, all of the lashes. If you mess this up, because I know it's really hard to like paint in lashes, I just take a little bit of water on a Q-tip and go over it and then just redo it. Now for the catch lights. So I just gave her a little dot on the right side of each of her eyes, and then I flicked a little line going toward the left, and I really like how it looks. to accentuate those beautiful lips even further. I'm taking some Tamiya gloss. Put a little coat of that on the mouth. This is how the face up turned out. I'm obsessed with it. I want to paint like 1,000 more of these heads. So am I going to? No. Maybe. But yeah, I just love how it turned out. And we gotta go on to the body. So she's gonna have wings because she's a pixie. So I'm taking some epoxy sculpt and I am just putting a bit of that in the middle of her back between her shoulder blades. I have tried to drill these dolls before to put a magnet in the back, and it like, they're so small it like messes with the joints a little bit, so like don't do that. But yeah, I'm just going in, I'm smoothing it out with a little bit of water, which I think I do off camera, and then I sanded it, which I also think I do off camera, and then I just painted it with the skin tone color. Once that was all done, I took some matte varnish and went over it. I also went over the areas where I sanded on her crotch and like her butt and stuff, because I sanded off the underwear, because it just gets very like weird and ashy. So when you put matte varnish on top of it, it makes it not that way. I quickly body blush her. With body blushing, I only do like 2 coats of blushing, whereas with the faces, I think I do like 7 or something. It's a lot. I just use the same tones that I used on the face on the body. Here she is with her head back on her body, and I have to say, I'm obsessed with this. If Rainbow Hat came out with like dolls that look like this, like these proportions, I would die. It looks so good. Anyway, before I further freak out, I'm gluing on her wefts. I'm doing this with Elmer's glue all, I believe. I made wefts off camera. If I would have known how good my silver yarn was, like, where did I even get this? I didn't even know I had this, but it's that nice wavy texture when you brush it out. Love it so much. I'm gluing this to the head with some Elmer's glue all. You know, typically I really hate like gluing wefts to a head. I don't know, the texture of like getting glue on the yarn and then it gets stuck to my fingers just really like irks me. But this was just a very pleasant experience, which I don't experience a lot when I'm gluing wefts to the head. I was just chilling. Like, it was just nice. I went up the head with the yarn wefts, and then when I got to the part, I just flipped it backwards, glued it in place, and I did that with 2 of the wefts like pushed against each other. I've been wanting to make a silver haired doll with like tan skin for the longest time, and like, who is she? She is her. I'm just living my Storm fantasy with this doll. I think it looks so good. I also got these white feathers, and I was like, you know, it'd be cool if I put some in her hair. So I'm doing just that. I'm taking a little bit of glue and I'm just gluing a couple of these in her hair. Not too many. We're not going ham. I was also living my feather fantasy with this doll. Kind of feels weird to do like a pixie with feathers, but like, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I made her some little hair ornaments, and I did that by cutting some feathers and then gluing them to this little teardrop shape. It's like white felt. I only did 2 layers of this, and one layer is bigger and then the other one is smaller, and that's just how you get that layered wing look. The feathers had like a fluff at the end, so I wanted to cut some of that off and just put it at the very bottom of her little hair ornament, so you didn't see, I guess, the ends of the feathers. It just looked weird. So I'm gluing that over top of that. This is how they turned out. I do have regrets though. I have black feathers and I wish I had incorporated those, but I just didn't. I pinned these to her head so they can stay in place. P.S. in case you want to know for some reason, these heads are extremely hard, like so hard. So I could not see rerouting them. I braided her hair, and as a bit of a homage to my summer pixie, I put some rings in her braids. We need clothes. The shoulder pattern looks like a Pope hat. But anyway, I am hemming everything. I'm making her like a bodysuit because I love bodysuits. And yeah, it's gonna have very intense sleeve things that sort of look like the armor of the Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z, but make it fashion. This is the cup for her boob, and I'm just sewing a dart into it. Once I have 2 of those, I just sew them to the booba area, good side to good side. For the back of the bodysuit, I sewed the 2 pieces together up the middle, good side to good side, and then I sewed the back and the front together at the crotch. Added this pleather silver ribbon, and voila, she is almost done. These are her like Saiyan armor sleeve things. I just glued these 2 pieces of fabric together, good side to good side, and sewed some of that silver pleather to connect them. I made her a belt out of the feather ribbon. I took this little bit of fancier ribbon and I'm just gluing that on top and then sewing fasteners together so it'll go around her waist. I don't think Pixies need shoes, but I wanted her to have something on her feet, so I'm just sewing some like velvety stockings, and I'm sewing that around her leg and then cutting it and flipping it. Off camera, I sewed a tube of tulle for her arms. Last but not least, we have the wings. So I got these wings from Etsy. I just bought them and then I printed them on transparency paper and cut them out and put a magnet on them. And yeah, it's just a really easy, effective way to make wings that I really like how they look. With that, y'all, she's done. And I really like her. I really like making pixies though. And I really like this combo, this like hybrid. I loved her face up. And it was just really fun. Off camera, I did put some like metal thick wire that I had in certain areas on her, like around her neck and then around the top of her stockings. And I also glued some glitter to her wings. But yeah, I love these 2 together. I'm so excited to make more of these. I just love making specifically this type of hybrid, so I think it's going to be really fun. I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I enjoy making them. And yeah, I'm going to make a spring one next. I need to find like a different head to put on this body. I have so many tiny heads though, so I don't think it'll be a problem. Anyway, guys, if you guys like this video, subscribe, makes me happy, and I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Bye.